Good morning to you all. Today we are meeting for the third monetary policy review of this year. The monetary policy board at its meeting held yesterday decided to keep the policy interest rates unchanged. Accordingly, the standing deposit facility will remain at 8.5, while standing lending facility rate will remain at 9.5%, and statutory reserve ratio will continue at 2%. There were several factors considered for this decision, and I will be highlighting some of the key highlights and key developments on the macroeconomy. So let me start with the inflation development. The headline inflation continued to be subdued in the last few months, and as at end April, the 𝗶𝗶𝗶 inflation stood at 1.5%. and core inflation based on CCPI stood at 3.4%. So even though there has been a year-on-year pickup on inflation from 0.9% to 1.5% in April, on a month-on-month basis, still headline as well as its key components, food and non-food inflation, have recorded contractions, deflations during April. If you look at the near-term as well as the medium-term outlook of inflation, the headline inflation is likely to be below the 5% target in the upcoming months. Based on the incoming data, suggests that due to the impact of some downward adjustment to the administrative prices, especially the electricity tariff, the downward adjustment to petroleum prices and LP gas, and also some easing pressure on food inflation is also helping inflation to be at subdued level in the upcoming months. However, we expect that inflation will eventually align with and remain around the targeted level of 5%, and that will be ensured with appropriate policy measures. Of the interest rates, we observe that there has been an overall reduction in the market interest rate structure, which includes benchmark interest rates, deposit rates, as well as lending rates. In the table, we have shown some key interest rates and their changes during last year and this year up to now. We could see that there has been notable reductions in all of these interest rates since June last year, in line with the commencement of easing monetary policy stance adopted by the central bank. However, we see that there is further space available for market lending rates to adjust downward further. This is in line with the recent large reduction observed in the benchmark interest rates, especially the prime lending rate and government securities yield, and also a notable reduction observed in the deposit rates in the recent months. So in line with that, we think that there is space available for financial institutions to reduce the lending interest rates in the upcoming period. In addition to that, even though the weighted average rates have broadly come down, we see some elevated level of interest rates for some selected lending products, and we expect the financial institutions to appropriately adjust the lending rates on these the selected retail products as well. So the chart shows some selected interest rates. The first two charts are for the benchmark interest rate, prime lending rate, and the 91-day treasury bill rate, and the next two charts for the new deposit rate and new lending rates. The red bar shows the increase in these rates from April 2022. That means before the significant tightening adopted by the central bank, and up to the peak levels they have recorded during 2022 or 2023. And the green line shows their reduction compared to the peak level up to now. So you can clearly see that the benchmark interest rate, like prime lending rate and the 91-day treasury bill rates, the reduction has been higher than their peak levels observed during the tightening cycle. And the new deposit rates are almost in line with the adjustment happened during the tightening cycle. Now in the easing cycle also, it has almost touched the same level. However, there is still space available for new lending rates to adjust further compared to the level they peaked. With regard to credit to the private sector, we observe that even though there has been some notable expansion in credit during latter part of 2023, so far during this year, the expansion has been sluggish. We see only a small expansion in credit, private sector credit during 2024. And we expect that with the anticipated reduction in overall lending rates as well as the retail interest rates, we expect that there will be a sustained recovery in private sector credit. So that will support the recovery of economic activity. On the external side, there has been improved net inflows to the financial sector as well as workers' remittances, and these have cushioned the widening of trade deficit observed thus far during this year. So during 4 months up to April, it has been estimated that trade deficit has widened compared to the same period last year. However, this has been partly offset by the improvement in services sector inflows as well as the workers' remittances. Reflecting these improved inflows as well as build-up of confidence in the market, we could see that exchange rate continue to be appreciated, and there has been a notable improvement in gross official reserves, which was supported by continuous purchases of forex from the market by the central bank. And finally, I would like to reiterate the message from the board. The board noted that there remains a space for market lending rates to decline further, given the prevailing accommodative policy stance and continued decline in cost of funds for the financial institutions. Thus, the board re-emphasized the need to pass the benefits of the eased monetary conditions to the borrowers without further delay. Thank you.